Hello and welcome to another episode of the Infobots Podcast. This is episode number 093, and I'm your host, author Frederick Fishman, where today we are sponsored by me. So for links to all of my books, apparel, and gear, go to my main Infobots website at infobots.com. That's spelled with two T's at the end, infobots.com. You can also help us out and show your support to our efforts here on this podcast by visiting our Patreon page at patreon.com/Infobots Podcast. And please check out our new educational website packed with numerous multimedia elements about the animal kingdom. And that website is at animals-central. That's animals, plural, animals-central.com. Also, our new website with solutions for everyday problems can be found at problemsolution.com. Okay, let's get started. Last time on episode 92, yeah, that's right, 92, we talked about Comedy Central's top 100 comedians of all time. And I listed comedians 1 through 10, so you may want to check the previous episode. That was number 92. But let's move on now with the next 10. The next 10 top comedians, number 11 was Johnny Carson, who of course is a legendary king of late night TV. Then Jerry Seinfeld, who had a TV program here in the United States. Number 13 was Robin Williams, who was known around the world for his crazy comedy. Bob Newhart was number 14. David Letterman, number 15. Ellen DeGeneres, number 16. Don Rickles, number 17. The 18th most popular comedian of all time is Jonathan Winters. Number 19 is Bill Hicks. And number 20 is Sam Kinison. Let's focus today, though, a little more carefully on Rodney Dangerfield. He lived from 1921 to 2004, and he has sadly passed, but he was an American stand-up comedian, actor, producer, screenwriter, musician, author, and he was known for his self-deprecating one-liner humor and his monologues on that theme. He began his career working as a stand-up comic in the Borscht Belt resorts of the Catskill Mountains northwest of New York City. So what I thought I would do is just read a whole bunch of his one-liner jokes. Now, of course, I can't deliver it like he did, but you know what? You just use your imagination, okay? And you can find him very easily on YouTube as well. Just put in the search term Rodney Dangerfield. My girlfriend is so ugly, 2 guys broke into her apartment. She yelled rape. They yelled no. My sex life is nothing to crow about. At my age, I'm envious of a stiff wind. I joined Gamblers Anonymous. They gave me 2 to 1 I wouldn't make it. I joined AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. There was a 2-drink minimum. Me and my dad used to play tag. He'd drive. My dad told me to stop running in circles. I couldn't, so he nailed down my other foot. My mom took me to a dog show. I won. The sign on the bar said girls, topless, bottomless. I went inside and there was nobody there. A man in the crowd asked, "Hey Rodney, how did you get started?" Rodney said, "I was 12 years old, alone in my room, and I got started. My wife's so dumb, she's got a nail in the spare tire. My daughters have been picked up so many times, they're starting to grow handles. I walked in on my wife and the milkman, and the first thing she said is, 'Don't tell the butcher.' I tell you, I don't get no respect. Last week, my wife told me that she was going to cut me down to twice a month. But I thought about it, and I figured out that isn't too bad. I know a couple of guys that she'd cut out completely. I'll tell you, I don't get no respect. The other day I got back from a business trip. I got in a cab and said to the driver, "Hey, take me to where the action is." So you know where he took me? He took me to my house. Do you remember the first time you had sex? I do, and boy, was I scared. I was alone. I went to my doctor and told him, "Hey, doc, I just took an entire bottle of sleeping pills. What should I do?" "Go home, have a couple of drinks, and get some rest." I'm getting so old, my insurance company sends me half a calendar. That's a good one. I told my doctor I want to stop aging. He gave me a gun. I told my doctor I got water on my knee. He gave me a sponge and raised his fee. My car broke down the other day. I called AAA, and they came and towed me away. When I was born, I brought no joy. My father said he wanted a boy. I took my son to Coney Island. I said, "Want to go to the crazy house?" He said, "Save your money, we'll be home soon." I come home from work early one day and I see a guy jogging down the street in his underwear. I ask him, "Why are you jogging in your underwear?" He said, "You came home from work early." My girlfriend, she's fat. How fat? She's so fat, she wears 2 watches, one for each time zone. I tell you, sex is getting harder all the time. Me and my wife were trying to have sex for hours last night, and I finally gave up. I asked her, "What, you can't think of anybody either?" A girl phoned me the other day and said, "Come on over, there's nobody home." I went over. Nobody was home. I came from a real tough neighborhood. I put my hand in some cement and felt my other hand. I drink too much. The last time I gave a urine sample, it had an olive in it. Well, that's a little bit of the humor of Rodney Dangerfield. And I want to thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Infobots podcast. Please support our efforts here, and that is by going to patreon.com/Infobots podcast. That's patreon.com/Infobots podcast. And also you can check out our 2 new websites that we've established. One is all about the animal kingdom, and it's called animals-central.com. That's animals, plural, animals-central.com, and problemsolution.com. Join us, if you would, for another episode of the Infobots podcast. Take care. Bye-bye.